Here is... Alright, so do you guys see my screen? You should see the CAD. Okay, so this is what I've been working on. You remember last time I kind of just had blocks and there was nothing really cohesive quite yet, but I've added a lot more detail now. So I'll just start here. The coral scoring mechanism that we have, everything is kind of the same as we talked about. You'll notice the one addition that I did make. Is this big arm. We realized I realized that a big issue that I didn't think about enough was how we were going to de-algify the algae from the reef, and that's how I came up with this contraption. It's just a little arm that kind of pivots and slap the algae out of the reef. Yeah, and then this I added these, which were just little rollers, and it'll help drive the coral out of the actual funnel. That's about it. I had to add cutouts for like making space for the elevator bearing blocks, but that shouldn't be that big of a problem. You'll see right now I have it driven on a 775, which should be enough. I mean, this is nothing that needs to go fast or really any strong. So 775 should be plenty with rev compliant wheels here. And yeah, that's a little update on this. You'll notice we have 4-inch stealth wheels because based on Cranberry Alarm's testing, I saw that they had the best results with 4-inch either compliant or 4-inch compliant wheels that were the harder durometer or just regular stealth wheels. And so that's why I decided to go with stealth wheels. And yeah, I think for this, that's the only major update. I had to change up some dimensions, but it didn't change the functionality of it. Next thing is the algae mechanism here, which is, yeah, here we go. So you'll see it's pivoted by this chain and sprocket. And see, I do use a bearing block here to mount the Neo on. Right now has a 9-to-1 reduction, which we can obviously change that. Shouldn't be too big of a problem. It's 18 inches wide, inside distance, and I have a direct drive Neo here on a pulley driving these, again, for 4-inch stealth wheels. And the idea with that is that, like we've seen a lot of the Ri3Ds, it'll kind of just pivot down and take the algae into the robot, or at least gain partial control to where the algae is kind of riding on the bumper, and then we can outtake to score. So yeah, that's what I've been working on so far. We've had a couple members working on redoing some of the drivetrain stuff, but it's nothing major and nothing that's going to really change how the drivetrain works. In terms of what I still need to kind of add a lot is a lot more detail in this elevator. You'll see right now, I just have the base, the carriage, and I use WCP inline bearing blocks. Just load, here we go. So that's the elevator, but I have planned to eventually use a setup sort of like this, where this is ThriftyBot mega plates that will be driven on a chain and sprocket, and we'll have little brackets that attach the carriage to the chain. So yeah, it's a pretty, as far as elevators go, it's as simple as I could make it, I think. And you'll see here, I did put the robot into an assembly with the game pieces, just so we can have a look at that. Another thing that I realized was, you'll see how far that is, which isn't really not ideal. And I mean, the only solution I can think of right now is adding kind of like a 3D printed funnel that you just attach to the plate. But that's something we need to iterate on, and we'll see how the Lamar testing goes, because I did send this out to them last night. So yeah, that's what I've been working on. I do think today we had one of our alumni came over who's very good at design and was very critical about designs usually. And he suggested that we take a lot more inspiration from RustHounds Ri3D. They had their algae system here was basically the same, but they had a funnel. They also had a funnel, but it spanned more of the robot, and they had an arm that was directly mounted to the elevator. So yeah, we had a little discussion, and after some time to think about it, I do agree. I think at this point, this is gonna get far more. Although this is mechanically simpler, I don't know if strategy wise it's worth the mechanic simplicity. So we may as well pivot directions, but I don't know. That's going to be one that's up for discussion between the team. So yeah, that's what those are my thoughts on this CAD so far. The drivetrain is finalized though. It's 29 by 29. I'm working on bumpers, and hopefully that should be ready to get cut by Saturday. Yeah, that's what I've been working on.
So let's talk about RustHounds. Is everyone pretty happy with that one, or is there some other Ri3D that we should really look carefully at?
I think in terms of like how what we want our robot to do, RustHounds will probably be the best way to do it, because of they released like their CAD and their code, and they have a similar setup with their algae thing is near enough the same, and they just have a arm mounted on a carriage. So I think it's a pretty good. If we want to shift directions, I think that's the way that we should go in. But I don't know.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of similarities here. A lot of the skeleton, and the really important part that we just are not very talented at is all the prototyping and testing has already been done.
Mm-hmm.
So we really have to respect that, because we can come up with some ideas, but if it's something that hasn't really been tested, it's a big shot in the dark. So.
Yeah, Greg. Yeah, we had this discussion. I've had it this discussion before with some other people, and Greg especially made a good point of how I haven't seen a single other team do something any similar to this, which is scary. Because now we have no data on it and don't know if it's a viable option or not. I feel like we're missing something that maybe other teams have seen. So I don't know.
Well, and you have the elevator piece that you like is really just changing the way the arm works.
Yeah.
And you already have like a lot of rotating joints, and instead of rotating one type of arm, you're now just rotating like a single pivot arm up and down.
Yeah.
It's really not that different from what you have.
Yeah.
It's just you got to work on some geometry stuff.
Yeah, that's basically what Sid said. I mean, I'll be honest, this de-algifying arm wasn't a thought of my mind until like 2 days ago. And so Sid made a good point of how, you're going to have an elevator, you're going to have an arm mounted to this. And so at that point, you may as well just do an arm that mounts directly to the carriage and get rid of all of this, because effectively it's the same. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you looked at the details, but RustHounds intake does not have motors.
Yeah, they have like a giant funnel thing, right? From what I've seen.
No. The actual rollers that touch the coral and score it are passive. They literally just use the lift to press down on the coral, and then when they score it, they just pull away. And that's how they score.
They score. Yeah.
So there's no motors. There's no. I mean, they said they could make it an active motor, but they don't have it.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that's true. That's right.
So
Sounds right.
so it's very light. I mean, it's literally just a single pivot, single motor,
Yeah.
just pivoting an arm. So it's really simple. And the fact that they prototyped and tested, I would have been a little skeptical, but they did a lot of testing and they showed it works.
Yeah.
I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah. I think RustHounds is a very good direction that we can, if we want to move directions, RustHounds is definitely probably our best option to go in.
I'll look really, really close at their CAD. I'm really afraid that we're like missing something from like, I don't want you to like try to copy it and then forget something really important that you actually need on there to make it work. You know what I mean, Cedric?
Yeah.
So I'll be very, very careful when you're copying it. Like we've done this copying some in the past and forgot something. Just make sure you don't be afraid to ask them if you're gonna copy it. Like don't be afraid to ask them, hey, what are some important things you have to think about when you're making this work? You know?
Mm-hmm.
Well, one thing to note, I can already tell, is they have a long frame robot.
Yeah.
29 by 29 isn't going to cut it. You really are going to need, I think, more than 30 inches. You're going to have to go figure out what they built. I think it's maybe the standard kit long configuration. And so you can kind of look up what a kit bot long,
Yeah.
Front to back, what that dimension is. But that's a really important dimension because I think you're going to need every inch of that side, and we're going to have it be rectangular to really make everything fit.
That's true. Yeah.
Which isn't a big deal. We haven't cut any metal. It's just
Yeah.
And you shouldn't go too deep into bumper step until we get this sorted out.
It's 27 by 31 by 32 is their size.
27 to 32. That would put us at 91.
Yeah.
Wait, 32 plus. Wait, hang on.
Right.
118. And so that would put us.
Yeah, that's the M1 for you.
Yeah. So that's definitely a viable option. We can definitely do that.
You have to really look at it closely because this elevator is completely different from your elevator.
Yeah. I think that the RustHounds robot can go to L4, or I don't know if it can go to L4, but I know it has two stages. And it looks
it's a 2-stage something. I forgot the name of it. It's not cascading elevator. It's like I forgot the name of it. But basically, instead of all of the stages moving at the same time, the first stage moves, stops, and then the second stage starts moving after the first stage is already stopped.
Yeah,
Not a huge deal.
built the type of lift you have here,
Mm-hmm.
and this box that you build is tricky to build correctly.
Yeah.
I remember building a number of these types of boxes, and it's applied as well as you want them to. It takes a lot of tweaking. I don't think we did our 2019 exactly this way. I'll have to go back and look at that. I guess that robot's out of Mar, so we could look at
Yeah. That should be an easy thing to look at.
We built this type of lift for an older design. Ooh, I'll have to think about what that was. Maybe it was 2015 or something. And it was tricky. We built a number of these because they didn't work the way we wanted them to. Yeah, it's not as because if that box isn't really square, like really exactly square, and all the bearings don't line up, it gets really sticky it doesn't go up and down and cause a lot of friction issues. So you
Yeah.
have to be very careful when you go like this.
Yeah, we can't have the questionable, definitely not straight boxes we have from last year, for example, right?
Yeah, our
Yeah.
build quality is low, and that
Yeah.
do stuff like this that requires very careful build quality and issues for us. But I think any lift we take on is going to be a
Challenge. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think we should go this direction. Usually the Ri3Ds are not that impressive, but this one was really impressive. I think it's something that will meet our build quality. We can expand upon it and not, fall too far off the trail doing something totally new. And I looked at the other ones. I didn't see anything that really jumped out at me. I think this is the one that we should stick with.
Yeah.
And probably shouldn't deviate too much.
Where was I saw CAD. Les posted the CAD. I'll try to find it here.
They didn't make it an on shape, so you can't like move the pieces around, but you can see how they made it up together.
Oh, they use fusion.
Yeah. So you can't like none of the lifts, nothing works. So you can't don't touch it because you just move it and it be out of shape. So don't, but it's cool.
I mean, just looking at it here.
Look at the stages, right?
So they have like a similar box. If you kind of rotate it, it's the same as the box that you just showed.
Mm-hmm.
The box is on the outside.
Yeah.
There's also two boxes. There's more than
They got a piece of the box on one side, and they have another box on the other side. So it's like
half of it's on the outside, half of it's on the inside.
Oh, that's cool.
I think when you build it this way, it might actually make it a little easier to not have.
Yeah.
They've got a lot of boxes in the middle too. Yeah.
This is a two-stage elevator. I forgot. Let me find it. It's like not a. It's not like the standard ones that you've seen more recently. Like the cascading elevators. All the stages are kind of balanced, so both the first and second stage move all the way until the end of the travel. But this type of elevator, from what I read on their post, it like the bigger stage moves first until it reaches the end of its travel, and then the smallest stage moves after it. And they do the string very specifically in order to make this the system work. As you can see, there's the catcher for the coral is at the bottom of the first stage. So if they don't implement that system, this thing doesn't work correctly.
Yeah.
So that's, like I said, that's one of the important like pieces that we need to make sure we be very careful about to make this work.
Look at their intake. Do they have motors at the end of that thing, or is it passive?
No, it's passive.
This whole thing is just a passive funnel.
No, the roller wheels for the coral.
This? Oh, the top. Okay, 1 second.
Tip of the arm.
Also passive, yeah.
There's the motors. They just kind of.
We can literally throw that on a laser cutter
and just cut out a part to like.
and test it.
We can try it. Yeah, we can just try it on Saturday.
We'll have to find out a more detailed on like the details of everything. But yeah, that's definitely something we can do.
What's that right there?
Super simple. Yeah.
3-inch trails. Okay.
Well, that's good stuff that we could easily laser cut, test, and then make it out of polycarb and just keep it.
Okay. That's an interesting one.
There's a bearing block here as well.
Is that backwards?
You know, I'm not going to be surprised. I don't know when every bot comes out, but I bet you every bot's going to be similar.
Well, I think they said the every bot is going to follow the kit bot, right? Or are they not that again?
It's most likely going to be like something like a kit bot with probably a simple climb.
Well, this is a kit bot drivetrain here. Is it not?
Yeah, it is, but like we mean like it's going to be just a kit. They build a kit bot and then slap a climber on it, or find a way to put a climber on it. That's probably what they're going to do.
See.
I do also like this climb here. We need to take a closer look at it, but I think it's pretty cool the way they do it.
Notice how there's some missing details.
Yeah,
When
like
the coral falls, it obviously wouldn't fall in that open area. There's something else going on here.
Yeah, it's the if you look at it's a catcher. Sorry, can you move the catcher? The coral. It's this thing.
guy.
So it actually
It slides in.
while it actually moves the elevator, which I think is pretty cool. I don't know how they control that.
Looks
That's some insane. Like, that's based on their like how they wind the strings for the elevator. So yeah,
Why? I'm confused. Once it gets it, why do you need this to be part of the lift?
I don't think it has to.
it's just the way they found it to be.
Be below the lift.
Yeah, I think this is just like it was convenient and like they just did it. It's because well they did it like this because they wired the elevator as like a not a cascading. It's like I forgot the name of the elevator, but basically by doing what they did is when it's fully down, you can move the inner stage only. You can move the arm like stage by itself. So that-
Stage,
yeah.
right? This
Yeah, so like that the small box at the top can move along the like inner box, kind of. Like the part holding the arm can move up and down while the one around it doesn't move. And that lets it like actually pick up the coral. Otherwise it can't do that if it's a cascading elevator like normal. I don't know if I'm making any sense here.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. We just have to kind of look at how to. A lot of this is just let's just CAD it and match it up, and then you know, think real carefully about the little details of how we string it and how the motor. Where is their motor unit to power the lift?
where the lift is probably somewhere down here. Looks like this right down here. If I can get to it.
Oh, I see. They've got a spool.
Yeah.
That goes all
So
the way.
this one looks like it's for the climber. So I'm assuming this is the elevator one.
They just do it off of one motor.
Yes.
I would have thought at least two.
Yeah,
It's just not that heavy.
yeah, it doesn't look like
It
a
doesn't-
lot on the elevator.
I mean the bulk of the weight is just there's a Neo up here with obviously this, but there's just a Neo here, and that's basically it. That's the bulk of the weight.
I have to caution, this is not a simple elevator. This is a lot more than the elevator that is in the CAD right now.
Oh yeah, this is a two-stage elevator. This is not a simple elevator to build. But yeah, we could do it. I mean, but one thing I think we should think about is like, what happens if the elevator's broken? Does this design still score L2?
Well, it depends what part of the elevator is broken.
Oh yeah, this one it can't because it needs to go downward
Down.
to pick up the coral.
So you wouldn't be able to do coral if the elevator breaks.
You would build the algae, I guess, and climb.
Yeah, you would just do algae and climb.
Yeah. I mean, I like it. I think we should look at it real carefully. It seems like it's well thought out and tested. Do you guys have any concerns or changes you want to make to this?
I mean, really, I think it was mentioned earlier, like before the meeting when we were discussing, but it wouldn't hurt to maybe put some sort of agitator here in the funnel to make sure no coral doesn't get jammed. I mean, it's a small detail, but I think it's going to be worth it in the end. Just a small piece of.
Well, let's look at where your algae wheels are. They look like great agitators.
Make the funnel a little bit shorter.
And then those
Yeah.
wheels will be spinning, and it'll make sure the coral starts to.
Well, I'm talking about like down here. If it comes in at just the right. Yeah.
We also
I guess
need to add some bracing on the elevator, or
Yeah.
you need because the RustHounds already broke the elevator.
Yeah, I think you'd want to put a big triangle. That
Yeah,
goes
Like right
long triangle.
here to down here.
yeah, to the corner post.
Yeah, I mean the main part that I'm worried about here is the elevator itself, because this looks
Elevator.
pretty complicated.
Yeah. The other thing is, let's look at their lift, their climber device.
This lift here.
How is this braced, the frame?
It's not.
Something you would need to add. So it's
That
here.
one.
There's one gusset.
One gusset, one by one going across, and geared down neo. The
I
Yeah.
think like a 2x1 instead of a 1x1.
But I mean, it's pretty, for what it's worth. It's not that big of a packaging issue, so I think it's a good for a climb. I think it's pretty good.
Well, the reason they went by 1x1 is because see how their wheels stick up. That middle wheel of their drivetrain, they don't have space for a 2x1.
Yeah,
But if
but we wouldn't have that. Yeah,
have a full brace, solid bar that goes all the way across the frame. But keep in mind those inner rails that they have on their drivetrain, that also gives them a little bit of bracing
yeah.
we don't have. So we'd have to make sure we have pretty, instead of running the 2x1 just that far, they didn't need to go all the way from frame to frame.
Also, I don't know if I like how this elevator is mounted to it. I mean, this looks like 6 screws holding the elevator good. It's one. It's 3 here.
Gusset plate,
Yeah,
like
and 3 here.
triangle gusset plate that goes like all the way on the outside, really thick, heavy. It was some maybe custom gusset.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all rivets, and then they all popped out. This is why the elevator failed, and they're short.
Yeah, those are good failure videos. It teaches you a lot about where it's going to fail. So
Yeah.
I think there's lots of ways to strengthen these to make it a lot stronger. Seems like a pretty steep angle, but I guess
This.
yeah, I guess that's just a matter of like when they use their lift, they really want to go as low as they can
Yeah.
to use the.
I think it also doubles as a way to actually no, it doesn't.
I think they just want their arm to be as long as possible. I guess it lets their arm have more space. But actually, that arm could be longer, so I'm not sure.
I think they also don't, because I'm pretty sure from what I saw, this arm is supposed to actuate, but I don't know from where because it's not in here. That's something I have to look at.
And it's weird that they need such a long. If we think about the geometry, why do you need it to? I guess I'll think. Yeah. Yeah, the way the funnel is braced is going to be an issue for swerve because you really can't take up those corner spaces and swerve. So you
Yeah.
have like a different bracing system that's probably not at the very corner of the drivetrain.
It's going to be somewhere on the side, if anything.
Yeah, you could put it somewhere else and then just have it come across.
Yeah, we ran into the issue too in Charged Up, so you can look at that one. It was the exact same issue. I think that rebot was also like very set the corners, and we had to move it in a little bit.
Can you click the right button on the box? On that little cube there? I want to see how tight their funnel goes to.
There you go.
Yeah, so zoom in on where their funnel is versus the drivetrain edge. Like it seems like there's a gap.
What are you talking about? Like,
To the very edge of the drivetrain. So if you go to the back.
oh, like over here.
Yeah. It seems like the way that rail is, there's a pretty good gap.
Yeah.
why they did it that way. Like
You're talking about this.
the edge of the funnel doesn't. Maybe it's just because of the wheels, but it seems like the edge of the funnel should go all the way to the edge of the frame perimeter. There shouldn't be a gap. See what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe there's something we don't know about the loading station we should think about as well. Maybe the loading station comes out a little bit.
Maybe it's that steep just to compensate for that or something. I'm not sure.
Or maybe they cut it that way and modified it.
Yeah, we could not be like I said earlier. I told Cedric earlier. A lot of times the CAD isn't what it actually becomes in real life.
Yeah, we'd have to go look at some video and see
I would ask.
if they actually left it that way or they made some modifications.
Yeah, I would also just email them. You can do that too. That's what we did with
Yeah.
Fusion Core.